let's go through the clips here, because this one, you see Freeman scoring a touchdown on the Cincinnati Bengals there. Look at that high stepping. That was Freeman. We loved Freeman. Freeman was an awesome running back. We had some really good players back in the 80s. We really did. And unfortunately, we didn't have enough depth to build a championship team. But we had some really impact players, and Freeman was one of them. This was the 1982 strike-shortened season, by the way. And that Bengals team lost to the 49ers in the Super Bowl the previous year. Okay, so that's a good Bengals team. They had just come off losing the Super Bowl. They go back to the playoffs in the shortened season. And the first team that they played, the New York Jets, at home, we beat them. That's our boy Lance Mel. Let's go to Lance first. That's our boy Lance Mel. And that came against the LA Raiders. The Raiders, we upset the Raiders that day. They were 8-1. And that team had 8 Hall of Famers on it. 8. That included head coach Tom Flores and owner Al Davis. Now, they had Hall of Famer Art Shell, but he did not play in the game. He was that was, I think, the first game he missed. He played all regular season, I believe, and then he missed this game. And that was the last game he ever played. That was it for Art Shell, Hall of Famer. And then there were other Super Bowl winning players on the team too, including the quarterback that just threw an interception, Jim Plunkett. That team had Jim Plunkett, all-pro edge rusher Lyle Alzado, who had over 100 career sacks. He was an all-pro, I believe, once. 1980 Defensive Player of the Year was Lester Hayes, a 4-time all-pro cornerback. Boy, Lester was he fun. Just marketing Lester and the Raiders back then was just so cool, with John Facenda narrating. Those were, of course, the heydays of the Raiders organization, and we beat them.
Lester Hayes' interception was the final blow.
Super Sunday, what a day. I can't believe it. I can't believe it. It's like a dream come true.
The autumn wind is a pipe.
It's unbelievable. Yes, we're going to win. We are going to win, no question.
And the other Hall of Fame players in that game that we beat, Marcus Allen, Cliff Branch, Ted Hendricks, Howie Long, and punter Ray Guy, including those Super Bowl winning players I mentioned. And to tell you how talented that Raider team was, after they lost this game, so they go 8-1, they lose to us in this game. I think this was the only game they played in the playoffs that year. And then they come back the next year, win the Super Bowl. Matter of fact, they destroyed the Washington Redskins in the 1983 Super Bowl. So those are the first 2 clips you see here. 1982, beat the defending AFC champion Bengals, then go to LA, beat the Raiders, who would go on to win the Super Bowl the next year with many of the players I mentioned. Okay, I can't fast forward just yet, because what you're not seeing is what happened after the Raider game, because I'm not going to be like a lot of other channels that cover the Jets, that if they were in this situation, I think they would absolutely love showing you highlights and clips. Now, I'll show you a couple, but they would probably spend more time on the losses than the wins. But that's not what we're going to do here on this channel. Anyway, we played the Dolphins. This was going to be our time. We were the better team, the faster team. We had just beaten these 2 really big-time franchises. And now we're playing a Miami Dolphin team that was not a very good team that year. We did them the favor by knocking off the Bengals and the Raiders. And then we go to Miami. I mean, their quarterback was David Woodley. And he was so good that the following offseason, Dan Marino was drafted. And the rest is history. You know, their best wide receiver that year was Jimmy Cephalo. But he was actually their number one receiver that year. And again, it just shows you that not only it was pre-Marino, but pre-Mark Clayton, Mark Duper. This shows you what a great coach Don Shula was. And right there, that was a big enough difference in itself. Now, I think Joe Walton did a good job coaching the Jets during the 80s. A good job. But he was no Don Shula. And that's been the problem with our franchise forever. It's been, and look, a lot of other teams, a lot of other franchises and fan bases deal with the same thing we do. We're not alone. There's a select few that have the great long winning histories, that have the Hall of Fame coaches and Hall of Fame quarterbacks. We just were never that fortunate. And we had the talent that if we had that type of quarterback or coach, man, we could have had a lot of winning, especially in the 80s. But Don Shula beat us that day. They had the Killer Bees defense. They had the Blackwood brothers, Bob Brzezinski. And on top of that, it rained. I mean, it rained. It wouldn't stop, which was always going to be the benefit of the slower team. I mean, this was one ugly game. And it's no wonder they tapped at the Mud Bowl, literally and figuratively. There were 8 interceptions in the game. They, of course, the infamous pick 6 by A.J. Dewey. Do you know that A.J. Dewey had 3 career regular season interceptions? 3 in his entire career in the regular season. You know what he ended up with in the championship game? 3. And he threw on the pick 6 for show. The Dolphins would go on to the Super Bowl, and that was the only joy left that season, if you were a Jet fan, was being able to sit back, watch the Super Bowl, and watch the Washington Redskins kick the Dolphins' ass. It was just further proof. You see, it should have been us. We were the better team. And you know what was interesting, too, is that Redskin team who won the Super Bowl in 82, they come back in 83. You know what happened to them? They went back to the Super Bowl, and they lost to the Raiders, who kicked their ass. Everything comes around, I guess.